Hello, YouTubers. Welcome back to another episode. Today I want to talk about a Python package that I developed that can be installed through pip, which solves a very specific problem. Let's define the problem here. So I like to record videos straight through and then cut out the bad parts or just cut out the just boring parts. So this is sort of a diagram showing what the problem is. I want to keep certain segments, I want to cut certain segments, and I want to do this in the command line, in the terminal, because it's easier. This was also defined here in this Stack Overflow post. How can I remove multiple segments from a video using ffmpeg? So ffmpeg is a command line tool, very common in Linux, and there are ways to do it. For example, here, this is a command that you can invoke to tell ffmpeg to keep 3 segments of video. To me, though, this is too verbose and complicated and difficult to remember. So basically what the Python package is an ffmpeg wrapper that basically builds these commands for this specific use case. And it's much more intuitive and easier to use than this. So that's what we're going to get into now. So let's before we go into a little bit into the code and how it's implemented, let me show you how you can pip install this package. So if you just do pip install vid-cut, it will install it. You can see I have it already installed in my environment, but it's that simple. So specifically, the way I have structured the usage of this package is I've created some runnable scripts in this Python package. And these runnable scripts invoke specific functions in the code that utilize the functionality. So specifically, there's run vid-cut. And so if I hit this, it tells me, okay, it doesn't actually do anything. It just spits out the usage because I've entered an incorrect sequence of commands. In my case, no commands. So let's use this. This is actually under the hood running my Python code if I were to run this. And so basically I specify the input file. I specify the output file. These 2 flags are actually not implemented yet, but I have basically 2 modes. I want to have 2 modes, maintain and subtractive, where you specify a bunch of start and end times, and those start and end times define segments of your video. And if it's in maintain mode, I would want those segments to be kept, and if it's in subtractive mode, I would want those segments to be removed. Currently, only everything runs in maintain mode, regardless of what you enter here. So that would be a nice pull request if anyone wants to contribute to the code. It's pretty straightforward, and there's not much. It's not super complicated, and there's not a lot of code. So if anyone wants to implement that feature, I'd be happy to receive that. Let's see. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. So if I do run vid-cut, you see I have this video.mp4 here. --in equals video.mp4 --out equals out.mp4. And by the way, if you don't enter either of these, it automatically defaults to maintain. You could put in subtractive and it would still run, but it would actually just be running in maintain mode. So let's say I want my start to be start, the beginning of the video, my first start, and my first end to be 10 seconds. my second start to be 20 seconds, and my second end to be 24 seconds. My third start to be 36 seconds, and my last end to just be the end of the video. And now it built the ffmpeg command, it invoked ffmpeg, and now it's creating my output video. And I'm not going to actually go into the well, actually, before I go into this, it also prints out the arguments here, and I'll go into a little bit of that later, what that is. But basically, these arguments, I'm using a module called Docopt or Docopt. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but basically, these arguments get converted into a dictionary, and specifically the start and end arguments, which have multiple arguments and however many you want to have, basically get converted into a list. So this is my first start time, my first end time, my second start time, my second end time, my third start time, my third end time. And I've created this out.mp4, and you'll just have to believe me that this does what it says it does. You can pip install this and test it yourself. Let's run this again. I want to show you something. So this video is 144 seconds. So, sorry, out equals out2.mp4. And let's make an additional end. Let's make an additional start end pair. Let's do another start. So you can also put things in this specific format of minutes and seconds. So if I say 1 minute, so it's 144 seconds. So 1 minute, 50 seconds, end equals end. So it's able to parse that out too. It has no problem with that format. And finally, you can also use 1 minute, 50 seconds, and it will also accept that format. So you see what I'm doing here? 1 minute, 50 here. 1 minute, 50 seconds. And that also is valid. Okay, so that's one of the function, the scripts that you can run from this Python package. There are also a few others. There's another one called get video duration, which is pretty straightforward. You just put in the video file name, and it spits out the duration in seconds. And then finally, there's a convert to seconds. So under the hood, this function is being used also in the original script when you run vid-cut. When you, for example, when you put in this these sorts of duration strings, it converts them to seconds because ffmpeg requires seconds. So if I do convert to seconds, and let's just copy this 1 minute 50 seconds because it's straightforward, paste it, 110 seconds. Likewise, if I do the other format with the colon, I get the same thing. I can also do hours. 1 hour, 1 minute and 50 seconds is 3,710 seconds. And I can also do hour, minute, seconds, same thing. So these are the three main things you can do with vid-cut. So yeah, and so let's see exactly how this runs under the hood. But before we do that, this code is available on GitHub. So if you just go to github.com/Mr.Multimediator/vid-cut, you will see this here, and you can clone this. You can clone this here. And you can also fork this, commit to it, and create a pull request if you want to contribute to the code. Specifically, like I said, I'm really wanting the I'm really wanting this to have two modes, maintain and subtractive. I just haven't had time to implement them. Specifically, if you don't know how to contribute to an open source code base, I will share this link in the description of how to contribute to open source projects. And specifically here, if you scroll down to how to submit a pull request, it walks you through how to do this with a GitHub project. Fork the repo, clone into your local machine, CD into the folder, get checkout a branch, do your changes, add them to the, stage them basically, commit your changes, push to your remote branch, and then finally make the pull request. You can, again, I will send this and you can go into more depth there when you read it. So I'll share this link in the description. I'll share the link to the GitHub repo, and I will also share this Stack Overflow post that describes the problem. So let's look at the code a little bit. So first of all, I'm going to remove all these. I'm going to remove these output videos. I have this pyproject.toml file, which controls how the package is built. That's distributed on PyPI or pip. And I have this tool.poetry.script section, which basically tells the build step when I build the package to create scripts. You saw that I entered run vid-cut, get video duration, and convert to seconds. Well, specifically, I'm telling it, I want you to convert this function, vid-cut.vid-cut. The run function in the vid-cut file module, submodule of the vid-cut module. And then similarly, I have a gvd function in get video duration that I want to be called get video duration. And then I have another one called cts in get video duration that I want to call convert to seconds. And under the hood, these functions they're just short Python functions that make calls to the functions of interest in my code. So let's look at these two first because they're a little bit simpler. And again, you can clone this repo and peer into this code yourself if I'm not going into enough detail here for specific things for you. So there's an src folder, and here's the vid-cut module. And if we look at getVideoDuration.py, so this gvd function here is literally calling getVideoDuration. It's passing in the file name, which is the first command line argument passed in by the user when they run the script. And then it prints the video duration. And this getVideoDuration function is here. So it's using this program called ffprobe. And it's looking for the duration. It's pretty straightforward. And then finally, and then also I have this convert to seconds CTS function that's literally just calling convert to seconds. And again, both of these functions are used under the hood when you're actually running the other function of cutting the video, because it needs, like in particular, if you specify end equals end, -- end equals end, it needs to compute the video duration. And then if you use those special duration strings, it needs to convert them to seconds. So these functions are utilized in multiple places in this code base. So let's see. Convert to seconds. So this is heavy on the logic, this function, but it's converting the duration string from x:y:z or x hours, y minutes, z seconds format to seconds. And this is useful for ffmpeg. So there you go. And yeah, and I've exposed these two functions as part of the package scripts by wrapping them in these simpler functions and then adding those functions in my PyProject TOML in the tool.poetry scripts section. So that's how that works. And finally, the actual vid-cut itself. So here, I'm importing Docopt, and this is a dependency. Specifically, I have it in the PyProject TOML. Oh, do I? Yeah. Tool.poetry.dependencies. I request Docopt 062 or greater. Now, so this is basically how you construct the arguments dictionary. It's very straightforward. So basically the doc string of the script specifies the usage. That's how Docopt works. And then this is how you create the arguments dictionary. So it does a lot under the hood for you, which is really nice. If you want to learn more about that, you can read the docs of Docopt. But anyway, I construct this argument dictionary here. And if there's an invalid usage string, then Docopt will just print this. It will say, this is how you're supposed to enter these arguments. And like I showed you before, if I just do run vid-cut, it spits out the doc string. And then basically I'm just passing around these arguments. So this run function is what's invoked when you call run vid-cut. And this run function is just passing these arguments around to these various functions that have to do different important things. So the first thing I have is enforce mode. This is just saying I need a mode here. Basically, if neither maintain or subtractive are specified, then it sets maintain to true. Let's see. And then convert times to seconds. This is straightforward. This is basically, where is it? Here. So like if you, for example, here, if you have dash dash start, it just sets it to 0. If you have dash dash end, it sets it to the video duration. And this is in calling that get video duration function we saw earlier. And then also it's using the convert to seconds function that we also saw earlier. Yeah. So it's basically checking if these values are integers. And if they're not integers, then they haven't been converted to seconds. They have some sort of duration string, and it tries to convert them to seconds. And again, this convert to seconds will raise a value error if the duration string is in the wrong format. You can do minutes : seconds, hours : minutes : seconds, minutes m, seconds s, or hours h, minutes m, seconds s. And if it's not in one of these formats, it will raise a value error. So I convert everything to seconds, and then I sort the time points. So basically, if your start and end times are like out of order, like if you didn't, start with the earliest segment and you went from the middle segment to the end segment to the begin segment, it will sort these time windows. And that's what the sort time points is doing. And it will also check the format, which is, checks a few things. It checks that none of the time windows are overlapping. It checks the start and the end order. I think this is making sure that start times always come before end times, and maybe a few other things. and then it checks inbounds, which, what is that again? Oh, confirm that none of the times are beyond the video duration. So this is doing a bunch of checks, the check format. And then finally, it builds the ffmpeg command, and then it prints the arguments. This isn't just building it, it's also running it. And this is in a separate file called build ffmpeg. So if we look at that, build ffmpeg command. So this is, I'll let you go into this and look into this on your own. But this is building the ffmpeg, and then finally at the end, we invoke the command. We call ffmpeg. All right. So that's all we have for today. Please, I urge you, if you would like to try and create this feature for me, where you can specify the mode to run in, -- maintain or -- subtractive, and make a PR. That'd be really great. So I hope you found this video useful. I hope you use this tool, and I will talk to you all later. So have a good day.